access the database utilities, you'll need to be on the server computer for MacPractice, and we'll go to the Manager's ability. You'll find database utilities in the sidebar. Once again, if you're on a client computer, you won't see this here, so do make sure that you are on the server for running these utilities. Database utilities allow you and your office staff to make major changes to your MacPractice data very easily and to change data in bulk. If there is something of this nature that you need to change or fix in MacPractice, there may be a database utility for that purpose. This class is going to cover how to prepare for and how to run a database utility and cover a few of the most commonly used utilities. When running a utility, everyone else in the office should be logged out of MacPractice. This is very important as you are making system-wide changes to your data. If someone else is working in and changing the old data simultaneously, that could cause inconsistencies in the database. You can double check to see that all other users are logged out from the server itself without having to go around to each individual machine. You'll want to go to the window option in your menu bar and scroll down to online users. This will give you a list of all the people currently logged into MacPractice. To run the utility, I should only see my name and the IP address localhost. The localhost user is you on the server. So this is what the window should look like when running a utility with nobody else listed on here because everyone else is logged out. Up here I can also see online users says 1. Always create a backup before running any database utility. Database utilities are pretty quick and easy to use. However, if something out of the ordinary should occur, like a power surge in the middle of running a utility, for instance, you want to make sure that all of your data is saved beforehand. So check your computer for a current backup. If you don't have a backup that is recent enough, you can create a backup in Preferences, Server Backup on the server computer by hitting the Backup button and selecting the location where you wish to save selecting the location where you wish to save the backup. The time it takes will vary greatly per office. Some of you, it may only take a couple minutes to back up. Others of you, it may take a couple hours. But do keep in mind that this is recommended before running a utility. When you're running a backup, everyone else should be logged out of MacPractice as well, and the process should be allowed to complete. If you have any questions about how to back up in MacPractice or checking to make sure your backup was successful, you can contact MacPractice support or go to the help desk online and you can watch the archived mini class of backups. Coming back to our database utilities here, by its definition, it's changing data in your database. So remember, once again, be sure to quit MacPractice on all client machines and have a current and complete MacPractice backup. Now we'll go ahead and talk about some of the most commonly used utilities. As you can see, the database utilities has the secondary sidebar here that lists all the available utilities to run. The list is in alphabetical order. And we're just going to kind of work our way down the list, touching on a few here and there of the most popular utilities, the ones that are run most frequently in offices. So first at the very top, you will see a series of archive utilities. Archiving something in MacPractice means that it will no longer be available for use or reference. You won't be able to see it in your active data. It is different from deleting in as much as it is saved to your database and can be retrieved if needed. The most commonly used among the archive utilities is the one that says Archive Paid Incidents. Incidents are a great way to organize a patient's ledger so that it does not become cluttered. However, if you create a new incident for every patient visit and you suddenly find yourself drowning in incidents, this is the utility for you. This utility will archive all incidents that have a $0 balance and that have no open claims. As you can see, I can choose two options here: archive all paid incidents and create a new incident when needed. So if the patient's very last incident was zeroed out and had no open claims, that would be archived as well, and a brand new incident would be automatically created. Or I can simply choose not to archive the most recent incident for each patient. So with running any utility, you want to be sure that you read over everything in this area of the screen. The top part is going to explain what the utility does, and the bottom part always allows you to set some kind of parameters. This one's really simple and straightforward, but some of them do have additional drop-down menus and checkboxes that you'll want to pay attention to. Once you're ready, just hit the Go button in the bottom right of your screen. At this point, a window will pop up reminding you to log out on all other terminals. If you've already done that, you can go ahead and hit OK. The next window that pops up is going to prompt you to create a backup before proceeding. Since we're saying here we've already done that, we will just go ahead and hit Cancel. If you haven't saved a backup, you can do so now by clicking the Save Backup button. But remember, this could take a while depending on the size of your database. Finally, there will be a window popping up asking us if we want to run the utility. We'll go ahead and hit Continue here. And you see how quickly that was done. It was literally a second. MacPractice is now telling me that I have 41 archived incidents. So it did that work for me, archived all 41 of those, instead of me having to go into each individual patient account and archive them one by one. And I'm on a test database. If you were to run this utility in your office and you use incidents, many of you would probably see the number in the hundreds here for how many incidents get archived. So you can see how database utilities can be a huge time saver for your office in this way. I want to move down here a little bit now to the delete and delete unused utilities. There's quite a few of those. We start up here and go all the way down here. All these are delete utilities. A lot of these utilities can be used for cleanup in the database. A couple of the most popular ones here, one of them is deleting transparency blocks. So if you have a lot of extra transparencies in your schedule and that sidebar is getting cluttered, it's difficult to work with transparencies and find what you're looking for, you can use this utility to delete all blocks in a specific transparency. Notice my alert down here. If the transparency is locked, I won't be able to delete those blocks. I would have to go to that transparency record in the schedule and unlock it first. This one, however, is unlocked. If I want to delete all those blocks, I would go ahead and hit Go. Remember, this will delete all blocks within this transparency, so do be careful and make sure that you're selecting the correct one. And make sure that you've looked in the schedule first and double check to verify that some of these blocks aren't actually really important. Another really popular one for cleanup here, a couple actually, we have delete unused account alerts and delete unused appointment types. These are two that I found to be really popular for offices. If in your patient's ability under the account tab, you have a lot of extra account alerts that you are potentially not using, or if you in your schedule have many appointment types that were caused perhaps by people misspelling things, and now you have a very, very large database of those appointment types, you can use these two utilities to delete those extra ones that haven't been used. Right after all of the delete utilities, there's quite a few of them, you will see a couple here for EMR. I do want to talk about one of these in case there's any of us here who are using EMR. The lock EMR forms before date. So if you are a doctor who has not been locking your EMR forms and you want to start doing that for security, you can use this utility to do so. So you would just enter your date here, hit go, and then all of the forms created before that date would be locked down for you. And then you can just start locking your forms in the future when you're finished with them. Arguably the most used utility and most popular one is Move Patient to Another Account. This allows you to combine or separate patient accounts. Once again, read through all the text before working with the utility. A recommendation I have for you this utility is to, rather than typing in the patient's information here, click the spyglasses to search for the patient instead. This will ensure that you bring up the exact account number and correct spelling of the name. And it's just a lot easier to use. So we can use this utility in one of two ways. We can use it to combine accounts, first of all. So let's say we had created two separate accounts and these two people are actually family members and I want to combine them. I would go ahead and select one of those people and clicking the first spyglass there. I can search for my patient here. I'm just going to click Show All since I have a test database. And let's say that these two John Adams are actually part of the same family. Maybe John Quincy is the father and John Adams Jr. is the son. Currently, they're on two separate accounts, but I want to merge them together. So I would like to keep John Quincy Adams, the father in this case, as the primary. So I'm going to go ahead and move the other John into his account. So I'm going to select that person first, hit OK. And as you can see, it plugs in all the information here. So I'm moving this John Adams to the account, and I'm going to pull up the account here with my little spyglass again. And I'm moving him to this John Adams account, his father's account number 6. I'll go ahead and hit OK. All that information has been plugged in, and now I'll just hit Go at the bottom of the screen. We'll go through our same windows here. I'll click Move. It's an extra confirmation there, and it will let me know the patient has been moved. The second way we can run this is to separate patients. Let's say we use family accounts in our office and we had a couple that got divorced or a child that grew up and wants to be on their own account now off of their parents' account. We can do that by clicking the spyglass on the first selection here, grabbing that patient that we're moving into their own separate account and hitting OK. At this point, we'll go ahead and hit Go. We are not filling out the second line here because they're not moving into anybody's account. They're moving out of an account into their own new account. So leaving this part blank will create that new patient account for us. And we'll go ahead and hit Go as usual. Continuing down through our list here, I want to touch on a couple other useful utilities here. One of them is setting the eClaims template. So if you're finding that you're using electronic claims, but a lot of your insurance companies are defaulting to paper when they shouldn't be, we can go ahead and set unassociated insurance companies to have a certain template. Or we can even check all companies and move all of them to have that eClaim template by default. Another one is to set zero balance claims to paid closed. If you have some claims that are sitting out there and they're open, outstanding, and you're running into that a lot when they've actually been paid or they should be closed, this is a way to help clean that up, because any of your claims, the charges on the claims, if they are all paid in full, those claims, if they're open, will be closed by running this utility. Just a couple more for insurance here. We have Update Accepts Assignment. and update carrier always pays provider. These two are really useful if you're looking to update all of your insurance companies in bulk to have all the providers accept assignment, for instance. That's a typical one that's run. Or updating so that all insurances have the carrier always pays provider checkbox checked. So stating obviously that the carrier or the insurance company will pay the provider rather than the patient. The let's see here, the update release of info and update signature on file are two others that along the same vein are really useful for updating that critical insurance company information for claims in bulk. Another one that we have here is update patient insurance. This can be useful if you're looking to consolidate your insurance company references. So let's say that currently you have about 50 Aetna insurance companies, and maybe we shouldn't have quite so many. We should consolidate some of those and just make separate plans. If that's something that you are trying to do in your office, this is a good utility for you. Once again, make sure you read through everything before running these. And finally, I want to talk about, let's see, where is it? Update patient provider. So in your office, if there is a provider who is leaving the practice and patients need to be moved over from that old provider to a new one, this is a utility that can do so. So those are some of the most popular database utilities. Again, as you can see, these can be very useful time savers, and there are many others on this list. So remember that the most important things are making sure everybody's logged out of the clients and creating a backup. If you have any questions or you're worried about running a utility, or you're wondering if there is utility for what you're trying to do or the information that you're trying to update in bulk, MacPractice support can definitely get on the phone with you and kind of walk you through the process again and help to find these.